What's good, peeps? Self-isolation day 40, I think it's 42 or 43. We haven't filmed in a few days. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Hopefully everyone is okay and staying safe. I have a confession to make. I did say about 2-3 weeks ago that I was going to try and tile my bathroom. I tried, right? I bought tiles. I watched about 1,000 YouTube videos. I removed tiles, which took me forever just to remove tiles. I didn't realize I bought some really thick tiles years ago, and those are the ones that were on. And just to get those fuckers off took like all day. So I gave up. And I don't know if you guys can hear banging, but I've actually got a local guy tiling. So I don't know if I'm contradicting myself, because obviously I've preached about self-isolation and keeping your distance and blah, 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 blah. And now I've got someone in my bathroom tiling. Now, obviously I'm in here, he's in there. So there's a bit of social distance and, but I just needed it done. I knew someone local. They're in there doing it now. Yeah, I didn't have to tell you, but you probably will hear all the boom, boom, boom and all that shit. So yeah, come at me, diss me, say Ade, you fucking lying little shit. Come, I'm ready for all of it. What else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Yeah, I done some Zoom and Skype calls with the Patreons, which was fantastic. I loved it. I am gonna do it with most people. It's not just the Patreons. Obviously, I wanted to do the Patreons first, but I'm gonna try and do it with as many of you guys as possible. So I'm gonna put out maybe a video or something, or maybe that community tab under YouTube where I like leave stuff sometimes and just say what dates and days and times available, and it's going to be like a first come first serve basis. But we are going to get it done this week. I'll say this week, today being Sunday, sort of next week. Probably do them on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, sort of 5 slots every day. So it'd be nice to chat with some of you guys for like an hour and 45 minutes. I'm getting a bit of hay fever, which is if it wasn't bad enough. I went outside for a jog. Yes, I'm jogging again, and all of a sudden I have hay fever. All right, let's look at what's been happening in the world of boxing for the last couple of days. Obviously, I've not done a video, so there should be some new news rather than me regurgitating all the same old crap. We are going to talk Floyd Mayweather as per usual, guys. Timestamps in the description. If you just want to forward on to whatever you want, just click on the time and it forwards you on. You don't have to listen to me talk crap about everything. HOLYFIELD, 4th bow fight is front runner, not TYSON trilogy. Why is this even getting energy? Like, what is it? What is this? What is this really? I mean, EVANDER HOLYFIELD's like 58. Like, isn't just enough just to chill, kick back, have a glass of brandy every day, smoke some cigars, do what Michael Jordan does, maybe bring out a documentary, right? Maybe, you know what? A documentary about the fights with Lewis, Tyson and Bo would be very interesting if they have footage and background footage from back then. Not all this crap. Like, who's interested? Have you seen the shape of Riddick Bowe? Anyway, what's all this stuff? Hamed on Fury. Joshua is easier fight for him than Wilder. I don't think that's true, if I'm honest with you. I don't think that's true. I mean, yes, we all know about Wilder's punch power. I mean, he can punch, right? I'm not going to try and discredit him now by saying he can't punch. He can definitely punch. But Joshua can also punch, and Joshua can box a lot better than Wilder, and he's a better mover. Fact, right? So he has less punch power than Wilder, right? I mean, Joshua can hit, He's a much better boxer and a better mover. How was that an easier fight for Fury? I just don't think it is. I think Joshua's a much tougher fight for Fury than Wilder was. That's just my own. Again, maybe I've got my Joshua hat on, but I look at it again. Joshua can punch, right? Joshua's the second hardest hitting heavyweight in the division, right? I think we can all agree on that at this stage now. I know some people might say, oh, people like Ajagba and Daniel Dubois, but they're knocking out guys at a really low level. Joshua can hit. We know that. Joshua can box, right? And we know he can move. He's a bit light on his feet. He's definitely a better mover than Wilder, so I'm not having that at all. AMIR Khan, even for big money, I won't fight without fans. Okay, I mean, you've obviously got that choice, right? You've got a lot of money, so it's not like you're in your overdraft. you've got money, so it's easy for you to say. There are some fighters out there that are desperate for a pay packet. I don't know if you guys watched the UFC yesterday night or the early hours of this morning without fans. I actually thought it was all right. I thought I'd be really put off like watching a fight with no fans, but found it okay. The fights were great as well. Some good fights. Some fights weren't great, right? Just because, and I can tell the kind of fighters that feed off atmospheres and or the crowd noise. And I think they struggle, but majority of fighters just got the job done, got paid, go home safe. No problem with it, right? Mayweather talk here, but we're going to leave that to the end. What's this? Paulie Malignaggi. Davis has become bored with opposition. At least Santa Cruz motivates him. If he's bored with opposition, fight better opposition. That's absolute BS, right? Bored of opposition. Go and fight the guys then. You moved up to 135, fight those guys, right? I mean, there was, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with this, but there was an opportunity for a Tevin Farmer fight before Tevin Farmer lost. That would have been a good fight, right? That would have really pumped him up in terms of being bored. That would have got him going. So, yeah, I'm just not having that as an excuse, right? And will the Santa Cruz fight be a good fight? There is talks about him going back down to 130 for that fight, which I think is better, much better for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz will bring it. He'll bring it. I just don't know. I don't know about Santa Cruz. He's an interesting one. Because there was a time when I thought he was a pound for pounder. Top 10, top 15. I don't know where I have him right now. At 130 or 135, I think I'd make Gervonta Davis quite a big favourite in that one. What's this bit? Andre Ward suggests interim fight for Lopez and Lomachenko before unification clash. Don't know about that. You know why? There was loads of reasons why I don't like it. I understand, all right, these guys were supposed to fight this month, and now they're having to probably wait until 2021. Makes sense, right? To have something in between. But let's also be honest, if they're going to have an interim fight, they're going to be pitted against guys that they are 110 million% favourite to beat. It's not like they're going to have an interim fight against a top 10 guy. They're not going to do that. They're going to just take a fight for the sake of taking a fight. So I don't like that. Apologies. Can you hear drilling? Apologies, people. I think the issue is more for Teofimo Lopez because he's going to bulk up to, I don't know what he walks around at, whereas I think Loma's just going to stay at 135, 140. So no problem for Loma. I think it's more of an issue for Teofimo Lopez. So it's a case of, should Teofimo Lopez take an interim fight, not Vasyl Lomachenko? And not only that, but do you want, look, as much as I've said they're not going to fight a guy in the top 10 or top 15, do you want to roll the dice with Teofimo Lopez? Let's not forget the fight he had before Comey. Didn't look great in that fight. I mean, he got the job done in the end, but didn't look great. Don't roll the dice. This is an undisputed fight as far as I'm concerned. Just wait it out. Wait it out. We saw what happened with, I don't know if you guys are UFC guys, Tony Ferguson. I fought Justin Gaethje last night. Tony Ferguson has been waiting all of, I don't know how many years for the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. Literally wait it out and then fight Khabib in 2021 or late 2020. Roll the dice with Justin Gaethje. Got stopped in the 5th round. Now he loses out on I don't know how much money on a pay-per-view fight. Sometimes it's just not worth it. So this, Mikey Garcia, I want to be remembered as one of the best fighters of this era. Not going to happen. I don't think we're going to look back and think that with Mikey. I mean, there's still time, right? I mean, the ERROL Spence one was just too risky, right? ERROL was just too big, too strong. I did say this on a video a couple of days ago. You can still go down to 140. Go down to 140 and there's some good fights there. Not just the guys that are there now in terms of Ramirez and Josh Taylor and Prograis. There's other fighters coming up from 135 that could be good fights as well. I mean, the fight that would have been the fight is him standing at 135 and fighting Loma. When you talk about being remembered as one of the best of this era, that would have been the fight. You beat Loma, dare I say even stop Loma at 135, then everyone's going to remember you. Now, I don't know if we're going to remember you for wins right now against Broner and Vargas. I don't know, but I don't know. Who knows? All right, what's this one? Andy Lee. I'd be surprised if Wilder takes Fury trilogy fight right now. Nah, he's taking that fight. There's no amount of step aside money or any. The only thing that would make Wilder not take that fight is if he's severely injured, and I don't know, something like a rotator cuff or something, and he has to take 12 months out. Other than that, he's taking that fight, right? Just not even just because of the money, and we are talking big money, 25, 30 million possibly. Just the way that second fight played out, the kind of embarrassment, right? He kind of got manhandled, and I think that's going to sit with him for a long time unless he takes that fight. He's just going to have to take it. Almost like the way Joshua kind of immediate rematch Ruiz, just the embarrassment of what Ruiz did to him. I think Wilder's thinking exactly the same thing. Has to take that fight. All right, what's this one? Mike Tyson. Promoters are not allowing the best to fight the best. Yep, absolutely. Promoters would like to say it's TV networks and they're on this network, on that network. We can't work with each other. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, just go and look at the last 2-3 years. We have started to see DAZN fighters work with top-ranked fighters and top-ranked fighters work with PBC fighters. They're happening. It's promoters that don't want the best to fight the best. I guess in Mike Tyson's era, he really had one dominant American promoter, and that was Don King. So, and this is the thing with it, right? In some ways, almost a bit like the UFC, I don't want to see a monopoly on the sport like that. But when you do have one dominant promoter, and Al Heyman tried to be that manager promoter guy where he tried to sign everyone a few years back, at least, you know, they're all on under one promotional stable and under one sort of TV network. You're going to get all the fights. But I don't think that's fair, right? Because I want everyone to kind of eat. So I don't mind there being 5 or 6 top promoters as there is now. But we all know what that means in terms of getting the fights. Whereas look at UFC as an example. I know there's Bellator and there's ONE FC and there's other organizations out there, but the majority of the guys are in UFC and we're getting the fights we want there. And what's this here? George Foreman. Mike Tyson can really be a top contender. What is this? What is this? Because, is it because of that 5-second clip? It's just incredible. Honestly, the stupidity of people is incredible. And I'm sorry, I'm not calling anyone stupid if they also believe this, but, well, I am actually. It's just, you know what it is? It's almost like we do this with our favorite sports stars. We only seem to like to remember them at their best, and we sometimes like we skim over the other crap. Like, has everyone forgot like Mike Tyson's last 4 or 5 fights? It's like just completely forgotten when he was like 36, 37. We forgot about that, right? And we make excuses for it, saying, oh, he wasn't motivated, oh, he was still on the drugs and blah, blah, blah. It's like we always want to make an excuse for them. And some reason people think that a 53-year-old Mike Tyson can come back and do something. Like Oscar De La Hoya said, if he trained properly, he'll knock out, I think, majority of the heavyweights. No, he won't. He won't. Can't happen. We do that with Roy Jones Jr., right? It's like, we do this thing with Roy Jones Jr. where we think he is a top 15 or top 20. Some people even say better than that. But it's almost like we stop after he won the heavyweight crown. Like no one adds in the other, I'm going to guess and say 20 fights after. It's almost like, no, it doesn't count. That wasn't peak Roy. Like we can only talk about peak, which makes absolutely no sense. No, we talk about your whole career. Not just, we stop where we want to. Like, wait, yeah, but if he retired after beating Ruiz, he would have been a top 10 guy. Possibly, but he had numerous fights after that. One of them being Antonio Tarver, knocking him out straight after. Anyway, what we got else? John Ryder eager to face Daniel Jacobs in New York to secure title shot. Okay. Some might say he deserves that after the performance against Callum Smith, right? I would prefer to see Callum Smith versus Daniel Jacobs, but I like John Ryder. He has a go, doesn't he? He has a go, and I like the resurgence. There was a time when I thought that was that. And then he's had some decent wins. One of those decent wins being against Callum Smith. So if you look at it that way, if you look at it from the fact that a lot of people think, I think 90% of people think you beat Callum Smith, then maybe he does deserve the Daniel Jacobs fight. And maybe Daniel Jacobs might look at it as an interim fight for him before getting a world title shot. So it could work. When? Who knows? Errol Spence says, we're making weight the right way, like when I was broke and hungry. That's the mentality you need to have, right? That's the mentality. Again, I like hearing this stuff from Errol Spence. I hope it's not just words and there is some action behind it. But we have seen Errol Spence before, obviously the accident, sort of backstage at fights looking a lot bigger than he should, I think, for a guy that fights at 147. So I hope that that accident has woken up a few things in his brain to say, okay, let's get back to that Errol Spence. Because that Errol Spence, the Spence he's talking about, the broken, hungry Errol Spence, was the guy that I thought was going to dominate 147 and do things at 154. So if we can get back to that, who knows, right? All right, let's quickly talk about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather done an interview with Fight Hype. That's the only outlet, YouTube outlet, that he actually speaks to, like, in detail and in depth. I don't know if you guys remember that after the Canelo fight, Fight Hype had this unbelievable access with Floyd, to the point where literally straight after, they're in his, I think it's his Rolls Royce, just rolling about after the fight, and he goes to the petrol station. They're literally in the car filming with him. Goes to McDonald's drive-thru. This is after the Canelo fight. No entourage, just him and the Fight Hype guy. Go to his house, chilled. I mean, that's some access, boy. People say Fight Hype kisses ass. Kiss ass for that kind of access. Why wouldn't you kiss a bit of ass? Anyway, he's coming out, said that he is 110% retired. And look, people might say that's not news. I kind of think it is news, because with Floyd, there's always this, is he coming back? Is he not, right? We saw him go back to the gym, hit some pads. People got excited. There was some talk about an Adrian Broner fight. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that's just people doing that lip service all the time. But he's now pretty much said he is done. And I think he needed to say that, because there has been so many rumors with Floyd, especially with this Zuffa boxing with Dana White as well. He said he's done from boxing. The only thing that I don't like in terms of the way Floyd went out, and look, I mean, 50-0, right? Or 49-0, you don't count the Conor McGregor one. The only thing I don't like is that there was no passing of the torch match. There was no potential passing of the torch match. That Andre Berto fight could have been, at the time, a Keith Thurman. It could have been a Sean Porter. Now, I'm certainly not saying that either man would have beaten Floyd, but it would have been good to see a passing of the torch match against a guy that at the time was ranked sort of top 5, right? I mean, Andre Berto, I don't think people even had him in their top 10, maybe even not top 15 at the time, right? So that's the only disappointment. What he did say, though, is that there is still an opportunity, or he would come out for a fight against either a Conor or a Khabib. So I guess that's showing respect to the boxers now, because people, for some reason, think that if Floyd trains now, he could still beat some of the top guys. I think that's his own admission that he can't, right? He's saying that he would fight a UFC guy crossing over into boxing, just because obviously their striking is miles away from his. But in terms of fighting a boxer, ain't gonna happen. I wonder if there was ever like a small thing in the back of his mind about coming out for one more fight, but the death of his uncle Roger changed that, because he did mention that he doesn't want to go out the way Roger did. Obviously, Roger Mayweather probably continued way too far, as many people do in boxing. I think maybe that death kind of ended that kind of thought or notion in his mind that he would fight a boxer again. But he did say that he would fight a Conor or a Khabib or someone else from the UFC, just because he knows it's almost an easy payday, right? They can't compete with his striking. And that's funny, because we UFC fans or MMA fans think Conor's a good striker, but he almost, I guess for him to say at 43 he would fight a Conor, is that how old Floyd is? I think he is, 43, fight a Conor, suggests that their striking is just awful. Let's be honest, right? Awful. So I'm happy that Floyd has come out and reaffirmed that. Again, Floyd does say he's going to retire, but Floyd's probably retired about 6 or 7 times in his career. But I think this one is definitely the closing of the chapter on the Floyd Mayweather book in boxing against boxers. We still might see him again against MMA stars, just because he might think it's an easy 150, 200 million. Let's be honest, if Floyd comes back right now and fights a Khabib Nurmagomedov or Conor McGregor or anyone, a Jorge Masvidal, who might just be a bit too big actually, but Jorge, it's still going to do ridiculous numbers. But I think it's good that he walks away. Again, the only thing that upsets me is there was no passing of the torch match. That would have been good, right? We didn't get to see that. We got an Andre Berto, and no disrespect to Andre Berto, but that wasn't a passing of the torch match. Peace.